All right, so let's jump in here. Five practical tools to help you stand out. So today's all about standing out. How do you do that on LinkedIn, and what do we do here? So let's roll through here. Brianna, what do colors have to do with it?
So if you guys remember our Max class, I talk about branding a lot and I love color theory. And so we actually use it every day in our life. But the idea here is that people are also associating your brand like with a color and how that color makes you feel. So in finance, you see a lot of blues and greens because these are trusting, warm colors. But yeah, 80% are more likely to identify you by the color of your brand, especially if you use kind of standout colors such as like orange to highlight things or yellow or even reds. Yeah, these are really big when it comes to branding and getting people to notice you.
Yeah, and we got some examples here, so you can walk us through these here.
Yeah, so this is an example that I put together of what a lot of people's LinkedIn profiles tend to just look like. I blocked out the people's faces. I'm not sure who they were, but yeah, it's kind of just like fun pictures or pretty pictures. Cityscapes are really, really big, but they don't really do too much. You just are kind of looking at a nice picture. So we're going to show you an example here after this one where you actually see the effect right when you see it, the colors and all of that.
And a lot of these actually are just the blue LinkedIn
Yeah.
background. So most of you aren't doing this at all.
Yeah,
Right?
some are just, yeah, the default. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So here we got a couple familiar faces here.
Yeah, so these are two of my favorites, right? When it comes to color, I mean, you guys can automatically tell. Think about what just happened when Chris, like to the brain, when Chris just switched over to that other slide. You guys are seeing bright colors like yellow, which, you know, invokes positivity, happiness, right? For Vicky, it works really well for her when going after women. And then Rob uses blue not only in his headshot, but as well as his background. Again, that's a trusting color. He kind of mixes it up with like the pattern in the back too. Yeah, using color can really make you stand out, especially when a lot of other people are just having pretty pictures. I think there's one more example too on the next slide. I thought this was cool too. You guys don't have to kind of jump all in and be like, oh, I got to be all yellow or things like that. But Bob, we were talking about him earlier with getting appointments. He took a lot of time and energy into setting up his profile the right way. And he uses just touches of orange, even like the orange behind his head, like it matches with the words. It's just a way to kind of stand out. And then David down here as well does the same thing with like a lighter green. It just really kind of elevates your brand and people associate how they feel when they see those colors with you also. So it's almost like you're kind of like ninja in their brain. You know, yellow is positivity, green is calming, these types of things. So definitely consider that when you guys are trying to stand out. A really good example of this is Edward Jones. When we think of Edward Jones, we instantly think of like yellow. Because that's what their brand is. Whereas like Merrill Lynch and these other guys tend to be blue. So they've done a really good job of standing out in a really professional way.
Awesome. All right, step 2, authority builders. So it's something we've talked about, right? Reputation, brand awareness, potential sales, new opportunities, all those things. But authority, like, why don't you talk about that? And we can talk about it in context of LinkedIn here. But why are these things important here?
Yeah, so the biggest thing, especially for some of our guys who are maybe independent or kind of going off on their own or wanting to really stand out, is associating your name and your brand with a very well-known brand. So for example, an authority builder would be maybe you were recently featured on a Forbes article or a New York Times, you had a quote in there, right? Then you can say that you've been featured on these things or you had an article, or if you guys have won any prestigious awards, these are really, really great authority builders that you should be displaying. Obviously for me in LinkedIn on your banners, but an email, you can do it as well as your website. Like these are things to be really proud of and can really set you apart because the trust factor is there when people see names that they recognize like Forbes and things like that. So this can help you with more sales, again, brand awareness, just thinking elevation, and then like new opportunities when it comes to working with new people that see that.
Yeah, and this is, again, when we're talking about LinkedIn in particular, if you're marketing and talking to people there, these authority builders build that trust early on. And that's important because we automatically kind of distrust people on the internet, right? Are they scamming me? They're trying to get my credit card. What are they trying to do here? And it's always in the back of our head, even though it's more and more acceptable. I mean, now we would have thought we would purchase all of our Christmas gifts on Amazon, and where we used to have so much trouble purchasing online. So there's definitely this change that's happening, but it's still there for a lot of people in the back of their mind. So these things really help to start off on the right foot, to allow you to get your message to them. Because if they come, and we're going to show you some examples, and they say, oh, this person has authority, I can trust this person, they're going to give you the time of day at least to maybe read through your bio, to look at a message you sent them, something that might just get your foot in the door. And then, as any good advisor knows, all you do is keep your foot in the door and kind of just keep pushing through there, right? So that's what we're trying to do. Here's some examples. Two great members of our program here. So what do we see here, Brianna? Why are these?
Yeah, so this is Garth and Nathan, and right away you can tell that having the authority builders isn't really the main topic, but they're there and you can resonate with them. So you're already becoming familiar with their brands. So this is a really good example of how you can put these things like in your banners to do this. I also wanted to touch on, we talk a lot about niche and things like that. If you guys are going after a niche like golfing, for example, you work with a lot of golfers who are high net worth, putting even authority of like, if you've ever won a golf tournament or you won awards there because it connects back with your niche is also really, really powerful to kind of, again, have people validate that you actually are really elevated in that space also. So yeah, this is just kind of some examples of how to do it on your LinkedIn banners.
Yeah, and that's a great point, right? Things like that. Like I could tell you guys, I played college golf, and you probably think I'm a good golfer, but the truth is, my basketball coach was the golf coach, and they needed extra people. So I'm terrible, but it looks pretty good there. So those are those little things that help build that rapport.
One
All
thing,
right.
I just want to point out one thing too, this media that you see advisors have, it's huge because psychologically, like they've done experiments on 3-year-olds, their ethical experiments. They showed 3-year-olds a Toyota logo and a McDonald's logo. And by 3 years old, and a Disney logo. And the kids knew that Toyota was car, McDonald's was food, and Disney was Mickey Mouse. That was by like they were just barely able to speak. Think about this, right? These companies have invested billions of dollars into their branding. As soon as the mind starts to see something more than 7 times, it creates a neural pathway to short-term memory and long-term memory so that anytime you see it again, the brain's like, yeah, I know what that thing is. So a lot of these media outlets have created this incredible brand and psychological equity in the minds of your prospects for decades. For decades. I mean, how long has Forbes been around? How long has the Wall Street Journal been around? How long has AOL been around, right? And in our Shift Accelerator, we teach you how to get cited on this media in a way. You can hire us to do it, we can do that. But there's a way that you can position yourself as an expert and get the attention of reporters so you get that authority. And by the way, once you get quoted once, you're quoted for life. So you can always be a Forbes featured financial advisor. You can always be, a Wall Street Journal featured advisor. So think about that, guys, because if you're not taking advantage of that, you're selling yourself short, and you're okay to be in the same sea of oatmeal sameness as all your competitors who will continue to fight the rest of their life trying to be like, I'm different, when everyone's like, no, you're not. You look the same.
Yeah.
All right, let's answer a couple of questions here. Some asked about how to purchase Sales Navigator. So for most accounts in LinkedIn, if you look in the upper right-hand corner, it says like try premium or something like that. You can do it there. You get the first 30-day free. So make sure you use those to the best of your ability. And I think, and Jerry specifically is asking because he just joined LinkedIn, our Shift Accelerator program. Wait on that until we'll give you the green light on that inside the program because you want to maximize those free 30 days. So That's how you would do it. David, does writing a book make for a good authority on the platform? Brianna, you think that's good?
Yeah, so it's definitely a good thing to have. Roxanne, Michelle, one of our other Shift members, she wrote a book, but you don't want to make the book like the focal point of everything you're doing, because then people can perceive you as just an author. And so then it's like they don't recognize the transition, but it's really, really good to highlight and have like your book either in the corner or especially if your book is sold on like Amazon. These are types of, again, authorities and brands that people recognize. So it's really trusting. So having a book on there and showing that you saw it on Amazon can be really, really powerful.
Yeah, awesome. And then using these in your signature. Should we use these in our signature, Brianna?
All signatures, email signatures, everything. Yes, put it everywhere. Again, it's just recognition. So why not? Especially tying it back to those high net worth clients. I mean, they're looking at you and thinking, you've been featured on Forbes, AOL, this stuff. Of course, right? It's an elevation.
Yep. And a question about Sales Navigator Pro is what you would want in and then Instance Bradford.
Yep.
Cool. All right, let's keep going here. So number 3, emojis.
Chris, do you want to comment on your love for emojis?
Yay, emojis.
I'm
Chris
in the
should
minority
be the
here.
one that does that slide. Chris has to do the emoji slide. Emojis, emoji.
I'm in the minority here. Man, I've never been a fan of emojis, but I've come around. I'm using them now. I'm doing better, right? But there's a lot of science behind this, and I know, Jeremiah, you're a huge proponent of it. Jeremiah, remind us of the shortcut on our keyboard again? I forgot it.
Well, Chris, welcome to Microsoft 101. On your keyboard, press the Windows key, followed by the period, and then your emoji screen will show up. So if you're typing anything on any platform and you're on Windows, guys, you just hit the Windows period, and then you'll see this little emoji box. You can click, or you can start typing the emoji. Like you could start typing the word muscle, and then the strong arm emoji will come, or you can start typing the word laugh, and then all the laughing emojis will come. And the science behind this, so that one day we indoctrinate Chris and he actually starts to use one, is that when the brain, they did an experiment on this where they wired people with an MRI machine, and they studied the part of the brain that kicks off when you see a human face. They showed people emojis, and guess what? The same part of the brain fires off. So the brain actually interprets an emoji as a human face, because the brain looks for patterns, right? And it's looking to do things faster and move towards pleasure and pain and save you time. So the brain's like, oh, emoji smiles. So using emojis to convey emotion, positive emotions, okay? We highly recommend stay away from the negative ones, stay away from the sarcastic ones as well. There's a lot of sarcastic emojis out there. But the friendly ones can convey a nice, happy attitude. And people just want to do business with happy people. So. All
right. Thank you. All right. Here's a couple of examples. So, Brian, this is what we would show people in our, for a bio, right? In our LinkedIn program.
Yeah, so obviously there's the banner, you can use emojis at the top of your page, like at your name, and we'll show that in a second, but this is a really good way of doing it professionally in an about section of a profile. This specific shift member, Howard, he's going after lawyers, so he tends to lean towards obviously lawyer oriented emojis, such as like the briefcase, the scales, things like that. So it doesn't always have to be like fun, quirky. You can also use them in a professional way to, again, people are connecting with emojis that are in their profession. So yeah, and it just looks clean, like the brain likes it, like there's just the same amount as well, and it's like a good feeling, and it makes it better than just kind of a big block of text.
Right. Yeah. Here's a couple more examples of people use them in their titles. You can use them in your title as well.
Yeah, so again, for those that are like, man, I would never use an emoji, right? These are great examples of just like simple ones, like the money one, or if you're going after nurses, using the nurse emoji. It doesn't have to be this crazy like laughing emoji, all this stuff, just like simple one. It just makes, there's color there. It makes it funner to read, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we've shared this one a couple of times. I think we shared this 2 weeks ago, service pages, but another one just to throw out there. Why does this differentiate people on LinkedIn?
Yeah, so the service pages are basically your way of signing up. So when people are searching for a specific thing on LinkedIn, like a financial advisor in retirement or something like that, it will come up, it'll associate back to your page. So you're coming up on search pages. So imagine being on like Google, but being within the first like 25 pages or in the very beginning. Service pages are only certain people have them. So it really makes you stand out in terms of like, you're the go-to person in LinkedIn's mind for this.
And this is a free service, something you don't have to pay for. People are searching for services. So be an early adopter. I mean, early adopters usually get a leg up, at some point if these do become paid or if they change the model a little bit. So definitely go in and check that out. Here's an example. So again, Vicky's showing up here. It shows up right underneath it tells people too. It's kind of almost a little banner ad of what you're doing and how you're helping people.
Yeah, like an authority on LinkedIn that LinkedIn recommends you for these types of services.
Yep, good stuff. All right, and then we got cover stories and voice names. So what are these things?
I'd love to.
Yeah, I think it's a video, Chris. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
All the best. All the best.
Yeah, so Garth does a really great example of both of these things. He has a cover story. You can see, we just click there, that shows video. He also uses the voice name. So there's a new feature on LinkedIn, or relatively new, where you can now show people how to say your name. And the clip is actually so long that you can include a little kind of snapshot of who you are as well, which is really awesome. And then on top of that, cover stories are now here this spring. So you can now create video on your profile picture. So when people are actually coming to see your page, they're actually getting a video of you. And I actually did the tip on this a couple of weeks ago to show exactly how to set this up. But I use the kind of cheesy quote, but a picture is worth 1,000 words and a video is worth 1,000,000. So they actually get to see you and see your genuine, authentic self in the video that's really short. So really powerful tool.